This is the new little bit of garden that I'm going to do this year. So I just finished putting it together, and I'll be putting some little pots or something with plants in down the center of the mulch area so we can tidy up this little courtyard a little bit. I already have peas in there, and my delphiniums and Maltese cross flowers are coming up really fast. So we'll get this area sorted out over the next week. So I have the planters out. It's last day of April today, so I figured it's time to get the plant pots out, get the outside of the building. Of course, we could still have snow for quite a while. We may still get some snow, but it would melt instantly. But it's a beautiful day, April 30th. Okay, these bats are plastic from that they used to make the sides of ice hockey rinks. So they bend, they're a little bit more flexible than some of the plastic bats you can buy, but they're still pretty stiff. And we got an 8x4 sheet of this material, which I can't remember the name. It's just plastic sheets. I guess you get them at a hardware store or something. But and they're 1/4 inch thick, just about, maybe just a bit under a quarter. I got 32 bats out of this, and my friend Sylvain LaRoche helped me make these. So he did all the work, actually. I just told him what I wanted. Anyway, here we go. I don't know where I got this from. Oh, it's got it on there. ZM Tools. This is one of those rubber bat things. And this would be useful here because the... oops. There we go. Once it's on, I guess it's on. There we go. So now this will be, the bat pins will be lower down. Perfect. All right, so that's from ZM Tools. It's some sort of grabber mat, I think they call it. Okay, so we're going to make some different mugs. Just make 2 or 3 variations of it. Center the clay. For those of you who are new at this, if you've got a wobbly ball of clay, all right, when you center, you've got to push in from the side, push down from the top, and hold the pressure as much as you can until the ball stops wobbling, which is so simple but so hard to do. So you can put weight on from the top, just hold your hand on the top and it flattens the clay. You can put weight on from the side, and that will make the clay get sort of narrower. And that's when you can push the clay right off the wheel if you put too much pressure on. But you can actually make it go whichever direction you're pushing it. But to center, you put one on the top. And I do it so I can see half the ball of clay. So I cover the clay like that. So left hand in, and that hand follows my thumb. And we put pressure on and push down. So let's see what happens. As soon as it drags, you let go slowly. And that's how you center a ball of clay. I would practice that, knock it off center, and just practice that many times until you get used to doing just that part of it. And let go slowly. So, because that is the most important part of this entire process, because if you throw from an uncentered piece of clay, you're going to end up with a wobbly pot. Alright, so putting a hole in. Fingertip over fingertip. Press down with your left hand, it's touching the plastic bat, my left hand, and let go before it gets too dry, slowly. If you let go fast, the piece goes off center. So, and then when you've got the hole to the deep as you want, you pull to the side as far as you want to go out. We'll make a narrow base mug here. So we've got quite a narrow, about, let's see how many, 3 to 4 centimeters across. Over to this side, 2 fingers opposite each other, and you press hard with the outside fingers and pull up. Before it dries out, you get to the top part and then you let go at the very top. If you draw slowly there, it dries the clay out and you'll make it wobble. And always flatten your rim down. Same again. Dig deep, press in, pull up, and don't hang around. Follow the wet bit all the way up to the top. Let go slowly. It's still fairly thick, so wet it all the way down. Now we're going to have to squeeze it open with my hand. So I'm going to get my hand nice and wet, push in, dig deep on the outside, fingertips are opposite each other again, and you pull up slowly. This time you can go a bit slower, but don't stick around onto the dry area. You've got to make sure you go up to the wet bit above. And then I'm now going to form a little bit by going back in at the top. There's a lump of hard clay right there. And let go slowly. So I'm going to form a bottom here with a rib by digging in. So I've got that overhang. And then I'm going to stick my fingernail under that overhang and press down there and give myself a foot. Right there. Got a nice pre-done foot. Don't have to trim that in. I'm going to wet my whole hand. Dribble that water down inside there, put my hand inside, and now I'm going to use the rib and push out towards the rib and make a belly. And then dig the edge of the rib in at the top, let go slowly. And you can just take that water that's still on there off a little bit if you want. Water softens clay, so you get as much of it off as fast as you can. And then we've got sponge on a stick. Get the water out the inside. Drag it up the wall. I usually go over the top and down the other side a little bit. This clay is so smooth that I don't have to use a leather on there. I've got a tool that I use if I want to get that rim a bit more smooth. And then just kind of clean it up a bit. And that's one shape mug. Oh, there's still a bit of water down hiding at the bottom. It's because with these sponges on a stick, you've always got that hollow area there that leaves some water in the center. So and to cut a piece off, just dribble some water all the way up to the pot. Keep it spinning very slowly. Pull your wire in tight and it slides right off towards you, but you've got to be able to control that speed so you don't suddenly speed up. And then I use 2 fingers behind the pot and slide it onto my other fingers. And you've got a nice belly bug. Make big mugs. So that's really drying the wheel out, banging it down so you know it's really stuck to the wheel head. Then top hand down, then side hand in, top hand down, side hand in. So you've sealed it to the wheel head. And then you combine the 2 hands with pressure until you feel like it stops wobbling altogether. So let me show you again. Wobbly pot. Top hand down first, side hand in second, then combine the pressure equally with both until it stops wobbling. And rest your elbows on the actual splash pan, or what I do, I lift a brick on the wheel underneath my left foot so I can rest my elbow on my leg, and then press equally. And let go slowly. Now let's make a wide foot mug, a ship's mug. Press down. This clay is so stiff. It's dry on the outside, so I'm going to put some water there on the outside. Pull out. Ship's mug is a very wide bottomed mug, which you can actually put in a car as well, I guess. And then I've compressed the bottom by pulling the fingers into the center again. press hard on the outside, a little bit on the inside, and pull up. But don't let it get dry. It's starting to get dry, so I'm going to finish a bit early. Water down. Same again. Yeah, this clay is this is a very stiff ball of clay here. Well, it's May, so that means I got it in October. Or actually, I did get some in August as well, so it could be August last year. So this clay is 8 months old. And then finish by putting your fingertip on the top edge to compress that rim down a bit. Hand in, push out wide, come back in, and let go slowly when you get to the top. See, it's wide at the bottom, so it won't fall over easily, and a narrow top so it doesn't spill easily either. Putting a foot in at this point with the rib itself. Dribble some water down the inside wall. Hand goes in and rib on the surface. And then dragging it off. Get the water out. So these two mugs are two that I do quite often. But these are big ones. I don't usually use this much clay. This is way over £1, I think. Yep, and then to get it off, this will be a little harder because it's wider. Dribble the water all the way around. Oh, I just lost my wire. There it is. And then slowly let it rotate slowly. Drag the wire through. And before it gets all the way around, I usually give a tug and it pulls right off. And that's basically a wider mug at the bottom. Okay, so there's no belly on this one, it's just basically a flat, straight wall. Yeah, I'm just playing today, getting back in the hang of throwing. Get the water out. This clay body is from Pottery Supply House, and it's 516 is the number. It's very smooth stoneware, a bit porcelain-like, of course. Very, very smooth. drag through slowly, and then before you get all the way around, pull tug when you get it off. And there we go. So we have 4 slightly different shaped mugs. To put handles on next. Squeeze a piece of clay into a great big sausage like this. You're dipping it in water, dipping your hand in water, and this is pulling handles. It's actually hard to get used to doing it, but imagine it's just stroking, it isn't pulling, and then basically the clay gradually gets longer without snapping it off. And every so often do a couple of pulls at the very bottom, because a lump generally pulls to the bottom there, and then you can snap the clay off a little bit. So just using the knuckle of my thumb to pull down, I create like a groove in the center. And then when you think you've got a good length, you snap it off, and you've got a handle to place down. And I threw 7 mugs, so I'm going to do 7 of these. And once you've got it started, it's a lot easier to keep going. And you can drag the water off your fingers on the edge of the water bucket, and that's a little bit easier so it doesn't slip in your hands. Okay, I'm ready to put handles on, and it's 1 hour since I pulled the handles. So that means it's about an hour and a half since I did these mugs, and look how soft they are. I can bend them in and out, but they're firm enough so that they can take the handle being put on without leaving fingerprints. And this is an hour and a half probably since they were thrown, so it depends on humidity, of course. I do not score and scratch when I stick my handles on, because I do it when the clay is so soft that you can just smudge it like that. It's really still in that kind of pliable state. My handles are a little bit less old, but they are totally bendable. They're not rigid at all. You can bend these up and wiggle them around like a snake. Anyway, I thicken up the end, and just using a damp brush, I just go around the whole lot and just give myself a little moistness where I'm going to just stick the handle. And this is a very sort of smooth clay body. It's not as smooth as porcelain, but it doesn't have as much frit, of course, as porcelain would have, but it's a very smooth clay body, no tooth to it at all. So I get my fingers right behind where I'm going to stick the handle, and I just place the thickened flat end right at the point where it's going to join, and it's instantly stuck then. And I just move it around a little bit, up and down, side to side, just putting some vibration kind of pressure on there, wiggling it around. And then I put 2 fingers, finger thumb, and just sort of judge the distance, whatever I want to. I can get 4 fingers in there now, so when it's dry and then when it's fired, it'll probably still get 3 fingers in that handle easily, and I think that's a nice size, so your mug balances nicely in your hands. The same at the bottom. I just snap something off, a little bit off, and curl it up like that, and then the bit that I snapped off is usually a little flatter, like this little bit there, and then I place it in that little join area right there, so that I've got a little extra clay that I'll be able to smudge in. And then I do it the same all the way around, because I just wet all of them, so they're all just in that little bit sticky stage right where I join the handle. Adding water makes it a little slippery. So I prefer using that than the actual brush, ferrule pot. I use both, but these little paintbrushes, I don't know, I got them years ago. They've lasted probably 5-10 years. I just use them for handles. There we go. And then take whatever, I've got a little stamp here with a square spiral and a round spiral, but I always do the round spiral. And you could make your initials and stick them in there, make a little stamp with your initials in it. You could make a print of a little bee, a bird, and you just press it, and then your mug all has that. So it's identifiable to you because of that. And that's how you put handles on. Okay, I've got to trim the mugs now. I put the handles on them, you know, about 24 hours ago now, and so they're actually nice and leather hard. I'm going to show you how I was taught to do it, and then I do it now on a giffing grip. But basically, if you want trim, you've got to center it. Let's see if we can get that. It's pretty close in center already. Just by turning it and letting it touch your finger, and the point it touches your finger, you push it in. The giffing grip makes it so much easier, but it is an expensive tool. You can tap center this too when you get really clever. Alright, so I usually use 4 if I'm going to do it this way, which I never do anymore. But might be a good idea to wet the plastic too. The reason I don't like doing it this way is that I've actually cracked pieces at the rim, especially if the clay's a little stiff. So you can actually say, if you crack a few of these, you're on the way up to affording a giffing grip. If you'd actually, it'll pay for itself in pieces not cracked. So basically, it's solid, and I think there's another version of this out there actually now on Amazon that's actually cheaper. But anyway, you trim, and it depends on how off center your piece is. If it's a little off center, you can literally, and let's use a different tool here. These are quite dry. This is Bill Wright's tools from the artisanpotterytools.com. So you're just touching the tool where it's off center, so you can put it on center. And my pieces are generally fairly on center, but and you can use the point of the tool if you want to. Make sure you don't touch the handle. So you're just taking that little bit off where it's a bit sticking out furthest. But when they're this close, I generally don't bother, because the only time you'll see it's off center is if it's spinning. And once you get this piece of pottery on your display, how many people will see it spinning? And it's just I would say that's so close to center anyway. And I don't want my pieces to be machine looking anyway. Okay, so that's pretty centered. That was doing a little chattering there as well. But that's all you really need to do. Take the bits of clay off. So that's the last I'll be using of that, because I don't do that anymore. I know how to do it, and I don't see any advantage in doing it as far as time. I'd much rather use the giffing grip, which centers instantly. So you put the arms on, and it will center your pot straight away. So let's try it and see. And I also don't feel like I'm frightened it's going to fall off if I put it on fairly fast. I always trimmed much slower when I was doing it with the bits of clay. That's one. next one, you just literally blow your debris away, of course. Pull it tight, check to make sure it's on, start trimming. So this tool is just that shape. There we go. So it's much faster when you've got the Giffen grip. I think these are $250, maybe $300, but I'm pretty sure there's a cheaper version out there now. Bailey has one too, the Bailey Pottery in New York. There we go. And I haven't tried it, so I don't know what it's like. But anyway, see, it's centered pretty much instantly with this machine. Trimming is a really therapeutic, I think. And this one's trying to chatter as well. Okay, you've seen my fluted mugs. This is the tool I use, which is a potato peeler. So, let's get the light on it a little bit easier for you. So all I do, you can start a little one there if you want. You can't do far with that one, but they sort of stick inside the tool. You have to shake them out. Wow, if these were two different colors that would show up, it could be kind of interesting. There we go. Oops, it's gonna go in there. Oh, I know, I'll do this one upside down. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Makes you want to do it on purpose. And since I have a Peter Pugger now, I could mix my own clay bodies, I suppose. Well, let's see. Oops, that's what happens if you don't shake it off. Give you some idea anyway. I think Walmart, any of those type of stores, probably sell these. They're called Master Chef. Anyway, there you go.